Hi, everyone. So I think we saved the best of the set for last. D3 is such an important essential vitamin that we need in our bodies. We all need it. So many of us are deficient, and actually most of us are deficient. So I'm going to go over why and how and what we can do and where the problem is. But D3, so okay, so vitamin D. So I heard you mention the milk. A lot of people think, oh, I drink milk, I'm getting my vitamin D there. Well, regular commercial milk is fortified with D2. D2 is not the most bioavailable for our bodies. It comes from other things, and we don't really absorb it right. So, and it's being fortified. So that means they took out the great stuff from the cow, the milk that they were taking from the cow, and they added things into it. But what they add isn't the best for our body. So if you think you're getting enough vitamin D from your milk, you are not. Okay, so unless you're going with a raw milk or raw cheeses, that would be way better. But that's a great, raw milk, raw dairy is really good for you. Ignore what they try to brainwash us with. Okay, so D3, we want D3 because, or let me start with vitamin D is important to basically every function of the body, because if you're deficient in vitamin D, you can have trouble. It can lead to cancer. It can lead to osteoporosis. It can, if you, let me see, depression. A lot of people with depression are vitamin D deficient. Immunity, right? So there was a few years ago, I actually did a live on, I think it was March of 2020. And I went live and I said, we need to take, everyone was worried about that crazy bug that was going around. But no one was talking about how we can help ourselves prevent it or prevent it from getting really sick. And, they had all this talk about this stuff that didn't work, like mask and please don't use hand sanitizers. They're really, really bad for you. But that's what they were promoting everywhere. But I did a live and I said, we need vitamin D. We need to increase your vitamin D. You need to do zinc and vitamin C. That's what we needed, right? And we need extra during times of stress, especially if there's something going around. So during that time, the data that came out later was everyone that was the sickest, whether they were put in ICU or died, were all deficient in vitamin D. So we went through all these years of all this stuff that they were pushing at us, but yet they could have just sent everyone bottles of vitamin D, which is so affordable and yet so effective. So we spent gobs and gobs of money and lots of risks for the other things that they did that were not effective. So vitamin D is really, really important to your body. So how do we get it? So it's the sun vitamin or the sun hormone. Vitamin D is a hormone. So the most effective way is to be in the sun, and it has to be during the time that the sun is actually going to make a difference. Not like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, not like 9 o'clock in the morning. It's when you can actually absorb the rays. And what the UVB rays, they penetrate your skin and they convert the cholesterol in our skin to vitamin D. So if you're taking something that's going to inhibit or lower your cholesterol, then that's another problem, okay? So you may know what those pharmaceuticals are. I could take
I think
that
the time, Donna, I think the best time to get the sun is within 90 minutes of it rising, correct? Before the rays come out is what we were learning in class.
For the conversion of the cholesterol, like that's great for your eyes. It's great for stimulation. It's great for a lot of things. The early sun is really important, but you really want to, and you could tell by if you look at like a fire hydrant or a stop sign or something, and it has a shadow that's like double the size, like that's not the best sun. So you could tell by an object, or you look at yourself. So if it doesn't have a big shadow, that's the best time that's the best rays to get. So I know that's a little, this has taken me on quite a journey. And so vitamin D, so it's so important. And if you think that you're going outside, and most of us have been brainwashed to think we have to put on sunscreen all the time. And so if you're putting that on, then you are not absorbing any of the UVB rays. You'll still get UVA, but you're not going to get UVB. And the problem with the sunscreens are all the chemicals that are in the sunscreens. And if you look at the data, melanoma has not decreased since the advent of all these sunscreens. It's actually increased. So take with that what you will, but they're pushing a lot of stuff. And even in the last year, there were over five products on the market that were removed again. Every year they're taking off more sunscreen. So you really need to know what you're putting on your body, in and on your body. Really important. There was like benzo something, which is from gasoline.
Yeah, it was my favorite sunscreen.
Why would that even be in there? So that's all right. So vitamin D deficiency, sleep apnea associated with vitamin D deficiency, bruxism. It's when you grind your teeth, that's associated with vitamin D deficiency. There's a lot of things that people don't think about. Like actually, when you grind your teeth, it's actually a form of sleep apnea. Most of us have a form of sleep apnea, and how bad it is another story. Snoring, ADD, these are all signs of a vitamin D deficiency. And then all the problems that you can have when you have a vitamin D deficiency are endless. It's like every function in the body can have some kind of bad outcome from not having enough vitamin D. So if you're someone, like I talked to a friend about vitamin D, she's like, oh, my levels are good. I'm like, first of all, she had them checked years ago. So let's start with that. You should check your vitamin D levels with your physician. It's so important. I don't know why it's not a standardized blood test, but it's not. You have to ask for it. And then they don't even know what the number should be. They'll tell you around 30. And the interesting is it's 30, it's like nanoliters per something, right? If that's what they say is enough. It actually should be bumped up to about around 50 nanoliters, right? But then when you look at a vitamin D supplement, it's in international units or IU. So how do you do the conversion of, okay, so if I'm deficient here, how many IUs do I need? So they don't even make it easy to figure out how much you need to take, right? So you really have to be diligent about this. And if you have a vitamin D deficiency, it's going to take you months to a year to get it back up. So you can't just take a little bit. You have to be aggressive and take a therapeutic dose until you get to the level you need to be. Then you can go on a maintenance dose of vitamin D. So it has to be something we're aggressive with. And most physicians are not trained. Most physicians, let's say probably all medical schools, do not teach about minerals, nutrients, and nutrition. They do not. So if you're relying on your MD to give you these information, they're just going to do whatever the basic is, and they don't look at that. And that's not enough. Vitamin D is not enough. So you want to make sure it's vitamin D3. Okay, so that's first. Vitamin D2 is not, our body doesn't absorb it the same. The VA hospital, or the VA, I don't know how you refer to them, but the VA, Veterans Association, did a study. And they found that suicide and self-harm for the veterans decreased by 45 to 48% when they were giving additional vitamin D to a level that was appropriate for them. Just by upping their vitamin D levels, the veterans' suicide attempt and intentional self-harm reduction of 45 to 48%. Like, why isn't this talked about all the time? So if you think you're getting enough, I'm telling you, you're not. So how do you get vitamin D? So you can get it from foods. Now, I have some good and bad news for you here. Good news, if you're eating a lot of red meat, great. That's a great source. If you're getting organ meat, really great source of vitamin D. If you are a vegan or a vegetarian, you're in trouble. And you can come at me, I don't care. But you're not getting enough, and you're getting too much of other stuff. So your body, there's a whole nother issue with vitamin D. Why are we so deficient? It's not just from the sunscreen that we're slathering all over us and all the toxins that are with that. It's also because we have a deuterium and glyphosate overload. So glyphosate is the product that they spray on plants, harvest, right? Anything that we're anything we're growing, like anything the farmers do, they spray glyphosate. It is so toxic, and it's on everything. And if you look up Cheerios and you really look at the source of Cheerios, they are full of glyphosate. And how many
are they really? That's my son's go-to. It's the only cereal he's ever eaten. Really?
So I'm gonna, okay, cereals are not good for us. There is no good cereal. Zero. Done. Cheerios are one of the worst things, and the way they market is
for heart health,
awful.
Right? Shit.
And you know, they say, oh, it can lower your cholesterol. It cannot, and it's full of it's one of the worst food on the planet. So get rid of it.
I even let my clients have it. It's the only cereal I allow. Thank you for this.
No, it's
my clients all hate you right now.
I'm sorry. So I hope that ultimately from hearing this, because this is, if you just start looking up what vitamin D can do and where the problem's coming from. So it goes to gut health also, because when we absorb the vitamin D on the skin, you know, when the sun comes in and the cholesterol converts to vitamin D in the body, it goes to the liver. Then the liver processes it, and then it goes to everything. So if you have poor gut health, goes back to gut health, you're not going to get the right stuff, right? Because it's just going to take longer. You will need more. So who's at risk for a vitamin D deficiency? Well, basically all of us. But if you are have more melanin, so if you're, you know, darker complected, if you're African American or any kind of darker skin, you need extra vitamin D, because that skin protects you, and you deplete, and it lowers your levels coming in. So it's you need more. So if the darker your skin is, the more you need, okay? Because it kind of blocks it. Obesity. If you are overweight, vitamin D will, the fat cells will rob your vitamin D levels. So I don't even have to, if you're in front of me and you're obese, whatever, you know, say even 20 pounds overweight, but obese is such a mental thing with it, but it's a technical medical term.
Obese. Every time I say obese, people are like, "You're not fat, Tanya." There's a different. Yes,
it's a medical term. Yes, it's a medical term. Mm-hmm. So if you are obese, you are totally vitamin D deficient. 100% you're vitamin D deficient. You need more vitamin D. So you must supplement. So you can get the foods. Some of the foods, most of us don't eat organ meats, but you know, we're the only country that doesn't. Every other country does nose to tail with their animals, and we just do whatever, you know. But if you are obese, if you're darker skinned, elderly, if you don't get outside at all, if you get outside and you slather with sunscreen, if you and then there's people like cystic fibrosis, Crohn's disease, any of those kind of diseases. Of course, Crohn's disease is a gut health thing, right? Or I don't want to say gut health, but it's a gut issue, right? You're not going to absorb enough vitamin D. So you will need to supplement even more. So you want to be sure that you're adding like red meats and stuff. So here's the problem with vegans and vegetarians. You're eating lots of grains. Grains are really not good for us. We were not made to eat grains. So if you're eating grains, you're getting more glyphosate and more, I have to look at the word again, deuterium. So deuterium is it's a heavy hydrogen, and it's naturally occurring in plants and in the universe, right? So we get some in our body, but since it's gotten worse over the years because we've GMO'd our foods, and now this deuterium is a heavy hydrogen. So when we get in our bodies, it's really bad, and it makes us very sick. It messes up our mitochondria, which is our cells and our cell energy. So what happens here, it causes cancer, it causes aging. So really we die of of too much deuterium in our body. That's what we're dying from, like, because we can't process it. That's why people are getting sick earlier, because we have all of these chemicals in us. And if you're only eating a plant-based diet, then you're getting all of that into your diet. So that means your liver and everything is full of it. So you need to make sure that you have to add extra supplements. But I really would discourage a lot of, if you love grains, I would discourage you from eating only grains. And I would highly encourage you to eating.
I love how careful you are with your words.
I don't want anyone, because, you know,
listen, you guys, just
people
stop eating that shit. Knock it off.
Well, people have, when you have a mindset that this is what I need to do, and maybe you feel good, like if you're vegan, maybe you've been vegetarian or vegan for a year, and you're like, I'm feeling so good, it will catch up to you in a few years and you will be sick. That's it. It is the same all the time. And many vegetarians and vegans are very overweight. So we already know they're vitamin D deficient, but they're very overweight because they're eating all these things that they can't process. Like, we were not made to eat all this stuff. And then they're eating processed soy. Processed soy is a known carcinogen, which means it causes cancer. So it is not a good, healthy diet. Okay, so
what is, when you say, so if someone is deficient, should they be following the label on our bottle, or should they be taking more than that?
I take more than that. Unless you get your blood work done and you know what your vitamin D level is, that's the only way you're really going to know what you need to titrate to, how much you need to take. But it's very difficult to get a vitamin D toxicity. They will talk about that. Oh, over 4,000, and it's not true. There's no data to actually support that. A vitamin D toxicity comes at like an amount
way more than we'd ever put in, right?
We can't even get to it, right? But that's what people will tell you. People tell you you can get a vitamin D toxicity. It's very difficult. But when let me go. Why it's so necessary. It's the maintenance of bone health, right? Vitamin D. And maintenance of cardiac function. So I was reading, I found the story where people that went into cardiac failure, which is a big deal, like that's, you're on drugs forever, you might need a transplant. It's a big deal. It's beyond a heart attack. It's way worse. When they're given high doses, in this study, they were given high doses of vitamin D. It helped the heart function again. Like, I've never heard of that. And it's from vitamin D, not from, vitamin D is so easy and affordable. Like, it's not like some big complicated pharmaceutical that costs a lot of money. It is inexpensive. So maintenance of healthy body weight, right? So a deficiency of vitamin D is associated with resistance to hormones leptin and insulin, which increase the risk of weight gain and obesity. Okay, right there, that's enough right there for me to just keep taking plenty of vitamin D. Prevention of cancer, reduction in the incidence of type 2 diabetes, because it helps the insulin, right? This is a big deal. Like, if you're trending that way, and really they usually say, oh, you're borderline diabetes. It's not. That's BS. You are diabetic at that point. If you're borderline, you are. So you need to hurry up and get in line with your nutrition. Treatment of psoriasis, prevention of respiratory infections. This is that whole bug that was going around that, they were given everything but vitamin D too. So that's what's important here. So if you have young children, their food is usually loaded with glyphosates. And okay, I'll read that in a second, Elisa. Okay, where did I get to? K2. So why do we want the D3 and the K2? K2, there's K1 and K2. K2 is the absorbable for our body. It's more bioavailable for our body. K1 comes from mushrooms and stuff, but K2 is another, it's really important, but actually it will help you absorb the vitamin D3 better. And it actually will help, it's like a gatekeeper for calcium too, because we need the calcium. If you don't have enough vitamin D, you don't have enough calcium, blah, blah, blah. So the K2 is going to help manage everything. It's like the bookkeeper, keeping everything in check. All right. So, oh, you know what, Tanya? I think you'll like this. I found that an interesting one. So vitamin D and knee pain. So if your knee's hurting, that's another sign of vitamin D deficiency. How about that? But this is the one. Hold on, my papers are just flying on the floor here. Don't mind me. Oh, where is it? Hold, please. Where's the beginning of that one? All right, so I found this great one, and I printed it just for you, Tanya, because you get the exercise stuff. Anyway, vitamin D is very important in muscle health, and it helps everything function. So your body will work better, the muscles will work better, everything is better with vitamin D. So I don't know if I've given you enough reasons yet to make sure that you're getting vitamin D. The other problem, it's not just
besides hitting them in the head, I think you did.
Yeah, right? The glyphosate, which is a toxic, that's Monsanto. I'll probably get this and probably crash just because I said that name. But it's very toxic to our bodies, and they act like it's okay. It is not okay, and we want to get it out. If you can be an advocate for your children at school or whatever, in your states, make sure you get it banned. California is working on getting it banned. But it's so important. So we want to make sure that we have optimal health, and it's going to affect everything. So we won't be able to absorb all the other things that we need because we have all these other chemicals. Think of the body like a sponge, and it's soaking up all the chemicals first, and it doesn't have anywhere to soak up the good ingredients that we need to have a healthy body. There was something I was going to say. I was going somewhere. I was definitely going somewhere. All right. Okay, you need sleep, right? Sleep is another one that helps us heal. Vitamin D will help your body sleep too. Some people think that taking vitamin D later in the day can help them sleep. Some people think that keeps them awake. I personally take it earlier in the morning, but it is another thing that helps you. And sleep is where we heal. So if you're not getting enough sleep, and then we talked about magnesium and all that stuff before, but this is really key. So it's everything in our body is affected by vitamin D. Like I haven't found anything that isn't. Like the depression, the study from the VA, like that's amazing. Like how many people do you know? I mean, suicide's terrible. And the fact that it can help prevent type 2 diabetes, like this is just amazing to me. And we had some question yesterday. Someone asked yesterday, do we need to take vitamin D supplement if we are taking the multivitamin? Our multivitamin does not have any vitamin D in it. Specific.
They did it on purpose, you guys. Like they did that on purpose.
Right. Because everyone needs a different amount. And in the November through May, let's say at least November through March, we're all not getting enough sunshine, right? Mm-hmm. And then for those of us that live in the north here, we still don't get enough. And if you're working and living and whatever, you don't. And if you're wearing sunglasses, all these things are important. Like I only wear sunglasses now to drive just because it's harder, but I'm training myself not to wear. I've been doing this for months and months now, not to wear sunglasses because we get ocular melatonin that way. But it's really good, and that's that early sun is really great for ocular melatonin. Yeah, that will help.
I wear contact lenses, so it's like I can't see if I take my contact lenses out, so it's really hard for me to get that direct like retina.
Yeah, it's hard. But just not wearing the sunglasses is a big start. The other thing that's causing these problems are seed oils. So huge. So it is, if you eat out, there will be seed oils. The only oils you should be, or fats you should be putting in your body, well, grass-fed butter, but olive oil, avocado, and coconut oil. They're the safe oils. Anything else is garbage, and it is affecting our body. So you want to avoid, and things like oatmeal, while it may be promoted as healthy, it is full of deuterium and did I say it right? Deuterium. And
I wouldn't be able to correct you. You said it right.
deuterium. It's deuterium. So like something like that, that seems so simple that we're feeding kids and whatever, and they market so well. It's full of that heavy hydrogen that is not good in our body, that causes aging and causes the other illnesses. So you have to, and it's not, you can't even like get an organic one, like it's everywhere. So it's best to avoid those kinds of things. It is a poison. You're right. So seed oils are horrendous. I saw Lisa say that, and it's true. So anything that's not avocado, olive, or what did I say? Avocado, olive oil, and coconut oil, the grass-fed butter, is a seed oil that you don't want in your body. So, you know, the peanut, the canola. Oh my God, canola is actually motor oil, like machine oil. Like you have to look up that stuff. Anything like that you don't want in your body. Vegetable oil. There is, what vegetable are you squeezing and getting oil from? Other than an olive, nothing. So think about that. Is it like that in nature? Think about what you're eating and how does it look in nature? Well, what does a Cheerio look like in nature? Nothing, because it doesn't exist, right? There is nothing. So what you're eating, think about how it looks in nature. You want to eat it as close to what it looks like in nature. And, you know, so that's why you eat whole foods, things like that. And these processed foods, that's where you're getting all these other chemicals that you do not want in your body. So I know I went over, I've tried to add things in here that you don't normally get just from vitamin D. So our vitamin D3, K2, what is this, $8.95?
Yeah, I think so. It's one of our ones that's under 10.
It's so affordable. But if you compare these ingredients to other things that go on Amazon, I welcome anyone. You can't find anything like this.
I'm confident to tell people, label to label,
yep,
knock
absolutely.
yourself out. And then as soon as you see that proprietary blend, that supplement's out.
So these are only 2,000 IU per capsule.
Mm-hmm.
Some people that might be enough for. I think a good place for most of us would be at least 2 capsules a day. And I break them up to an AM and a PM, and that would be 4,000 units a day. In the winter, you may need 10,000 units a day. But if you're someone that's severely deficient, you may need to start at 20,000. Okay, so yeah, it is a hormone. Yeah, I started with that. It's the sunshine hormone, right? So this, you just need to know that 2,000 is really not a lot.
Can look for, so you've gone over like the signs that you are deficient. That tells you that you need more. So you know, we would love to tell you how much to take. I would love to tell you how much to take. If you're on one of my programs, I will tell you how much to take. But for the purposes of us not being medical doctors, pay attention to what she said about what shows that you're deficient. If you're deficient, up it. And it is safe to split them up, to take 2 a day. I think I agree. I think
much more than 2 a day.
Yeah.
It's safe to take much more than 2 a day. And remember, if you are vitamin D deficient, it will take you months to get up to a therapeutic level. So you need to be aggressive when you start.
It's consistency again, you guys. Consistency. Everything in life is all about consistency, and you have to be consistent with your supplements.
And cutting out the processed foods so you can absorb things. Yeah, getting your gut health right is really, really vital here for everything. So we can absorb all the stuff, right? All the good stuff, and we want to get the bad stuff out. And then, was there any questions? Did you see anything pop up?
I didn't see anything pop up. I'm gonna take a peek. While she's looking for questions, you guys, to wrap this up, I'm talking to Donna. I'd like to maybe do just an overview of the wellness pack. There's a trend. We've been consistent every week so far. We have chosen a supplement that's coming from the Ultimate Wellness Pack, and you will hear. If we keep hearing, helps not fight cancer, but every vitamin and every supplement that we have talked about all work together for gut health. Donna, what's the list of all? I mean, it's just like every product that's working together. I'm big on gut health, heart health, immune system, right? Our skin, like they're all working together. So yes, you should be taking this vitamin, but I am just forever going to hammer everybody because I just think the Ultimate Wellness Pack has the best of all of our supplements, and the way that they all work together, I find to be amazing.
And I hope we get the factor 4 back in really soon, because that will be such an important, really an important supplement that really helps a lot.
Yeah, I can't wait to learn more about that, because like you had said, I don't take it because I didn't think I needed it.
Vicki, you're absolutely right. I don't know if you heard early on, but I shared a study that the VA did, and how the veterans had a decrease by 45 to 48% in suicide attempts and self-inflicted harm. And that's huge. And, you know, those things come from suicide attempt. That's usually from depression. So, but vitamin D deficiency, depression is locked into that. I feel like there was something I wanted to share, but whatever. So, you know, just make sure you're getting your vitamin D in. You know, consider adding raw dairy to your diet and more red meat. If you're living on the edge, do some organ meats. But the vitamin D, we all need to supplement. I have a friend that I was talking to. I started to say this. I was talking to her about like vitamin D. And she's like, well, I got my levels checked, you know, first of all, it was years ago. And she gets outside all the time. It was like in the winter. I'm like, well, most of us need more in the winter. She's like, oh, I walk my dog every day. So her face and her hands are exposed. That's 5% of your body. That is not enough, right? That is not enough exposure from the sun. And you really need to get outside and get like 15, 20 minutes of non-skin, you know, protectant on, no sunscreen on, and really absorb the vitamin D. And you know, if you're on one of those pharmaceuticals that's lowering your cholesterol, that's another issue. So yeah, you're right. Oh, you know, and even just like now, like you could get outside, your arms are exposed. If you're wearing shorts, you'll get exposed, and it has to be during the right time of the sun too. So it's really important. But yeah, I do too. And there's a popular meme that goes around that they show pictures today of people at the beach and people in the 70s at the beach where they're all tan and skinny and all of that. Like everyone was fit. No one was worried about all this stuff. But today we're spending, you know, the diet industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and everyone is unhealthy and looks terrible. And they want to promote like healthy fat. No such thing. It's a marketing scheme. Don't fall for it.
Nope.
All right. Anything
yep, absolutely.
else to pop up there? No.
I don't think so, but I think we're going on 40 minutes. So
all right.
Again, Don, I want to just thank you so much for all that you do. You
guys,
my
pleasure.
You jumped in here anytime after we started at 12, and we don't waste a second. So if you see this and it's 30 minutes, I promise you it's packed full of information. So just start from the beginning. If you're watching the replay, put replay in the comments, brings the attention to us. If you have any questions, Donna and I are both really good about getting back to you. And sometimes I'll tag her, she'll tag me, depending on the question, but we got you.
Vitamin K, someone asked or shared with us about how if you're on a Coumadin or warfarin is the drug name,
yep,
and Coumadin is the brand name, and other blood thinning agents. So the other ones like Eliquis and all them, they're okay with vitamin K. The Coumadin, what they think about is they titrate you to get your INR levels at a certain thing, and they tell you once they start you on Coumadin, they tell you, oh, don't take anything with vitamin K, avoid leafy greens and stuff like that. It's actually not true. Like if you were used to using that kind of diet, say you're a Mediterranean diet person, you know, like my relatives from Italy, they all eat that way. And they eat a lot of greens. So for them to cut out the greens, now that's going to mess up other things in their body, right? So you want to, if you eat greens, eat your greens, take your K2, and you titrate the Coumadin or the warfarin to the level that needs to be. Don't change your good nutrition. And, you know, they never say, oh, well, yeah, cut out the leafy greens, but keep eating your tiramisu, right? That drives me nuts. Don't do that. So you take the good ingredients you're putting in your body, and you titrate that chemical you're putting in your body to the level it needs to be. Don't do it the other way around. Don't take more of that drug because you're taking a healthy green or whatever. So that's my stance on that. And all right, that's it.
Thanks, Donna. Remember, you guys, if you use the search bar right here in the group, not on Facebook, in the group, if you search anything from vitamin K to wellness pack, you know, protein, all the information that we've been posting will come up, and we are posting a lot now. Monday is the product of the week Tuesday. Donna and I do this, talk about Tuesday. We're going over the product of the week. Wednesday, Kathy's doing some kind of a testimonial, how the product of the week affects the body. Thursday, Donna's giving us all her great information. We haven't really labeled Donna because, I mean, I'd love to see her get on and tell you about how all the chemicals that are in your food. So free reign with all of her expertise. Fridays, I'm doing a Fitness Friday, focusing on the scrub right now, just this week, because I was on medication, so I'm taking it myself. Good for weight loss, good for gut health. And then Saturday, Beth is doing the same thing. She's putting a post up that's informational about the product of the week. So consistently throughout the week, we're going to have lots of information. So if you miss a post or something, searching it in the search bar or going over to guides is your best bet. So we're 40 minutes
Whenever
into
you're
it.
taking medication too, you're going to up your vitamin D because you're not going to be able to absorb enough. It's going to block.
Yeah, I could feel. I felt like shit when I do a certain thing to my back, it's muscle spasms, and I can't move without a muscle relaxer, which I hate taking because they make me feel funny. But I could feel the difference in my entire body from taking those for the 5 days I was on them. I just felt awful. Okay, guys, thank you so much.
Have a great day,
again, Donna. Bye-bye.
Bye.